Predominantly, the word Tungkop is coined from the Visayan words tungko and tikop, which means to squat and to gather around, respectively. As time had passed, there was an occurrence in Visayan shores that were often visited by a group of pirates who were known to come from Sumatra, Malaysia, Singapore, and Borneo. In records, it was said that the mentioned pirates had a prescriptive goal in often coming to the Visayan shores to abduct women folks and sell them for slavery in numerous parts of Asia. Thus, the people in this community built a tower where community folks would guard the place and take turns in safeguarding the community and its folks against the pirates, in order to alarm others if ever they will come by again. Here enters another word, tungko, where the tower named watchtower for Moros, or in layman's term, bantayan sa hari, have guards that watch from day to night. They became used to squatting. Tungko. It was mentioned that the guardians of the watchtower were to put on guard as always, through letting the community folks communicate with them while guarding on the tower. As time had passed after the pirates incident in Visayan shores, Spaniards came and nestled in Cebu to spread the religion of Christianity. The watchtower for Moros became a place where people would tikop or gather around to experience having fresh air from the sea. Then, as years had come by and more developed came to Cebu, Tungko and Tikop were combined, forming the name of the barangay Tungkop. In official records of the said barangay, Tungkop was adopted as the official name of the barangay back on February 12, 1905, under the name of Felipe Zafras, Narcisa Secogdon, and Lazaro Villamia's administration. Barangay Tungkop constitutes for the municipality of Minglanilla in the province of Cebu as one of its barangays. Barangay Tungkop has a common border and is adjacent to the other barangays: Poblacion Ward 2, Poblacion Ward 4, Tuhgaan, Inayagan, and Tulay. Mentioning that the said barangays share a common border makes one ponder of Tungkop's area and its boundaries. So, the total area of Tungkop measures to 1.97 kilometers squared. The total land area measures to 252.63 hectares, while the total distance is 5.78 kilometers. In addition, since there are also 5 barangays that are adjacent to Barangay Tungkop, the barangay also encompasses 10 sitios named Acacia, Hesperanian, KSKC, Crayas, Nazareth, Bantayan, Primitiva, South, Labien, and Tulilik. In addition, the geographical location of Barangay Tungkop is effectively supporting its primary livelihood even until today: fishing. Since Barangay Tungkop is close to its sea as the foundation of their fishing industry, all of us that had passed through or lives in Tungkop observed that the industry is truly thriving. This shows how dynamic, flexible, and adaptive the dominant culture the Tungkop residents have, since they fit into their given environment of ocean form. We can see that the tangible institutions like wet markets, even street vendors, are legally allowed by the barangay to sell fishes in Barangay Tungkop, where people can efficiently buy their needs for themselves and families. Yet, fishing industry is not the only livelihood thriving in Barangay Tungkop, but also mentioning this livelihood that builds the identity of Barangay Tungkop: shells craft, woodcraft, ironworks, farming, culinary, and general merchandising. These livelihoods of Tungkop residents come from socialization, as well as the invention from the dominant culture, like how shells crafts develop from the oceanic environment. Since Barangay Tungkop constitutes for Minglanilla as one of its barangays, it lives the same culture, which means the traditions, festivals, norms, and such. Minglanilla is known as a first-class municipality. Even its residents are still dazzled with its festivals and booming tourist attractions such as the Ruby Cave Resort in interior Tungkop. Mentioning that Barangay Tungkop, a part of Minglanilla's suburbanization, it also celebrates the Sugat Kabanhawan Festival that makes residents join in the string of activities and events with their families, friends, neighbors, or even strangers. All the people would go in the center of Minglanilla due to its vibrancy and prominence behavior. That, or neighbors or the close subdivision of the suburbs has the highest chance of interaction in social and cultural events due to its suburbanization. All in all, we can conclude that the culture that Tungkop residents share with the whole Minglanilla is truly shared and contested, since Tungkop residents with other people share activities for festivities and social events. Though it is accepted by the people of Minglanilla, others would question the culture, since festivals like Sugat Kabanhawan must revolve around religious approach.
The well-known landmark of Barangay Tungkop is Palm Beach. It is where most people go for swimming, relaxing, and other self-indulgent behaviors. Roofy Cave Resort is another worth mentioning. It is well known for its best view and time worthy to spend a vacation with close families and friends. The last worth mentioning landmark is the Tungkop Elementary School. It is the first beneficiary school in Tungkop. That's also a public school in which their proper education for the children is for free. Florina is a herb organo is well-known medical knowledge to heal coughs and other bacterial diseases, even those who cannot afford medicine. The second flora is malunggay, ideal to grow in homes of Tungkop. It will give you food and can be used as everyday viand. The third flora, gabon, is an herbal plant that can treat symptoms of cold and it can reduce high blood pressure. The animals encompassed in Barangay Tungkop are dogs. They can be stress relievers as well as safeguard of the house. Tungkop has also chickens for primarily food and keep for business purposes like poultry. Birds are also prominent in Tungkop as pets and seen in the community because of easier care, good for mental health, and stress reliever like dogs.
Good evening to all listeners out there. I am here to introduce to you about one of the most well-known and most visited place in Minglanilla, Barangay Tungkop. People go here for a vacation during hot weather, especially summer. Beaches and swimming pools are one of the main reasons why people loves to go here. To celebrate birthdays, to have family bonding, and to relieve stress and enjoy. In order for us to be able to save these plants, we should address barangay officials and inform them about the problems and situations, and so that they would be able to influence others to plant more trees. Hearing this news and informations would surely inspire people to visit in this place, a place where you can find peace and bonding with family, relatives, or even friends. A public school that helps aspiring students to achieve their dreams. So that is it, guys. Surely you would love to go in Barangay Tungkop for its beautiful places, plants, and environment. Thank you for listening. Stay safe. God bless and see you.
Perhaps most of the Philippines culture consists of superstitious beliefs. It stayed with us and passed through generations to generations. On that note, the people of Barangay Tungkop perceives that there are entities living in huge trees that surrounds the barangay. Kapre, White Lady, and Duende are the common ones. This became a social control to the community because children are taught to behave when they are around these trees, and workers are afraid to cut these trees down because it is believed that if they do, they would be cursed. However, if you need to cut down one, you must ask for the entity's permission and offer a gift. Unfortunately, younger people are slowly ignoring these beliefs and traditions. If this would continue to happen, the culture would be forgotten and eventually die. But we can make this not happen by talking with our peers and the younger generations about it. Sharing this with others keeps the culture alive. These oral traditions helps people make sense of the world and teaches them the important aspects of their culture. The superstitious beliefs and traditions are what makes the culture interesting. It's also about society and their values. That is all for today, folks. See you next time.
In a context of intangible heritage of entities living in the huge old trees in Tungkop like White Lady, Capre, and etc. The possible risks and danger threatening the intangible heritage are religious conflict and neglect, because we have varieties of religions that we possess that conflict with the superstitions and tradition in the community. Certainly, it will be most likely occur that the beliefs and values of some groups may be ignored and neglected. In preserving the intangible heritage, it requires establishing the condition that under which cultural knowledge and embodies practice manifests that the knowledge may continue for generation to generation. Superstitious belief had been living for generation to generation because it is passed from our ancestor to our families through oral tradition and practice that display significance of these entities. Superstitions can be preserved through putting them into literary arts or creative arts, as they also play a big role in our culture, without making a fool of oneself in preserving these superstitions. If superstitious tradition and beliefs will continue be passed on the future generation, the culture and identity of Tungkop will still continually be known as a unique and alive. For the next generation, it could be a very interesting subject to talk and look about, even if the world may evolve into advanced and technologically driven. After all, in a general sense, this is what builds civilization and their uniqueness from other civilization. Our tradition, norms, history, and even evolution, and many more of such influence.
The first devotees of Senior Santo Niño were the Guatemalan family. They were just the only family who always prayed the novena to Senior Santo Niño until one time that the locals living in Tungkop joined them. The Fiesta of Tungkop is called Sad. It's a term when most people of the barangay will gather together to pray to Senior Santo Niño and dance to the music of sinulo while waving their hands. Houses offer food for the devotees. Social change in which the barangay is included in the fiesta.
Is the barangay government unit. As what people would expect, the barangay government unit is where barangay members, like the captain and council, would exercise their government power in service for the people of the community. The barangay government unit would also hold numerous community service and events such as medical missions, fiestas, donation giving, sport events, and such that are approved by the barangay members, and noting that the events are happening near or just approved by the barangay hall. One such activity was planned on February 10 with the cooperation of Sangguniang Kabataan sa Tungkop. The plan was a coastal cleanup with the theme o Plan Yamang Tubig Balik Alindog program. When COVID-19 shook the balance of community and panic took over, the barangay immediately enforced quarantine for the intended purposes of isolating the sick to avoid spreading the virus further, as well as reducing the exposure of those that possibly have the disease. The quarantine had some unexpected benefits. It created a stronger familial bond on its residents, then forms trust and camaraderie not only to the residents of Barangay Hall, but the residents to each other as well. Likewise, to the enforcement of quarantine in Tungkop, the barangay hall gave the needed supplies for the residents, and the residents are also helping one another in knowledge, physical needs, and reliance with one another in coping up with the new normal. With a large population for a single barangay, the Barangay Hall of Tungkop will have a difficulty when it comes to serving all of their residents if a disaster comes. This results in disappointment, less support, and a burden from the residents as the Barangay Tungkop leaders are really struggling to keep on giving the support their people need.
The dysfunction observed in this matter is that with a large population for a single barangay, the barangay government unit of Tungkop will have a difficulty when it comes to serving all their residents if a disaster comes. This results in disappointment, less support, and a burden from their residents as the barangay Tungkop leaders are really struggling to keep on giving the support their people need.
With the knowledge of the Catholic religion influenced by prayers and novenas, people who pray to the saints for miracles. Because this is where they go whenever they need miracles for themselves in need, which it shows their love for their saints. In return, they receive help or lifting to other people's lives. This is why people went to churches and chapels on religious events in the first place, in which people of Tungko celebrate in the first until second week of October of Birhen sa Rosario.
The dysfunction of this is that they may have some disappointment when they do not feel the joy and goodness when engaging in prayer or when their prayers have not been answered, which may lead for them to stray away from their beliefs and their trust in the Trinity, Mary, saints, or other beliefs. A lot of things can happen when we stray away from Him, like we may not feel being complete as humans when we do not feel His presence and grace in us, which can then lead to depression.